I miss 15 years ago. 15 years ago, we still had the Toshiba component. And you could build any kind of box you wanted, and the values in it never had to change. Today, we have the HG transistor, and I feel like every time I buy a new batch of transistors, I have to change all the parameters around the component, because the quality that we get from our Chinesium supplier goes. One batch of transistors, our input tune is going to be 120 in this particular setup, 120 and 80 on the output. And sometimes, this has happened four times in the last like 5 years, where I have to change my capacitance mix on the output transformers to get everything to be happy. Or I got to change the input capacitance either from 560 to 750 or what you guys are familiar with, 330. Because remember, my transformers are different than everybody else's. They're bigger and I got more surface area, so I have to compensate for that. But the input tune has changed 10 times in the last 7 years. I went back and looked because I take notes. The latest of what we have to do now to make the HG work is, at least with my particular setup and the way I build, is 150 here and 105 on the output, which is a really hard number to achieve. But we're there. I made it happen. And it's because the Chinese manufacturer is not like what it was in yesteryear. Well, it's been ingrained in you and me since birth, basically, that if we flipped a car toy over, like let's say you go to the store and you flip the toy over and it says made in China, equals garbage. Well, everything that we consume today is made in China. Everything. Very, very few things are made in the United States anymore, right? So, unfortunately, fortunately, whatever, there's two sides of the coin. Unfortunately, I guess fortunately, we're still able to build amplifiers because, well, they're still able to make these components that are a knockoff of a knockoff of a knockoff of a knockoff. But the quality is all over the place as far as their parameter specs. And it shows up even as something as minuscule as a relay. As we can all clearly see, this relay is, well, activated. Where are you going, camera? Whoop, 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 whoop. Slow down, there we go. We all see this relay is activated, but it's not moving. It's attempting to move, but it's not moving. This is a $9.57 component. Okay. Now, 15 years ago, we had American manufactured relays. We had Japan manufactured relays. These look exactly the same from the outside, don't they? But they're not. We were spoiled for 200 years where we led the world in standard of production, and if it didn't meet our standard of production, it would get rejected. These relays are what we can currently buy. The price of this is already absurdly out of control because the parts on these keep going up. The resistors keep going up. They've doubled in price. The transformers have gone up almost triple in price for the cost of ferrite. That's if we can get it. And then the cost to manufacture. The same thing with the input transformers. They've gone up a little bit. Phenolic boards increased in price. It's like we're having to rob Peter to pay Paul just to get a decent set of coax connectors anymore for our amplifiers. I've had so many failures in the last 6 months just because of relays. And I was talking with Tony at ICA the other day, and we were bitching about the quality of the relays that we get. We don't know if it is the quality of the plating on the connections on the inside of the relay, these little tabs that are in here. We don't know if it is the quality of the plastic that they mold around the fingers. I mean, I've got a drawer full of these relays, and it's not from a lack of trying. It's like I get every one of these relays, I take the cover off, I sit here and I varnish the connections and make sure they're spotless. And it's like a 50-50 chance. There's no way to test this, right? I've got a bunch of boxes that are out there running around, but here in this last couple months, I've had several come back where I've had to replace the relay. This is a brand new build. I tested this before I put it inside the amp. Physically hooked it up, its armature moved, the coil made the right amount of pull, electromagnetic force to pull it through its motion, had good conductivity, and cleaned all the contacts. I go to put it in the amp, go to run the amp. This relay here drove this relay here. That would be this one here, but it wouldn't physically move. So I don't know. We can put the most expensive components in the amp that money can buy, but since, let's go back to the original statement, everything is mostly manufactured in China. The relays, well, the plastic production, the plating process, all that stuff is way cheaper to have that done in China because of the EPA. This is what we've got in the market. Now we can go out and we can find these, like I found a bunch of these, right? I bought a bunch of these in a place in Arizona. And at that time, I think I paid $15 or $20 a piece for these. So you think about that. You start adding all that together. Even the cost of the switches has gone up. And that's for the ones that are made in China. You know, old school American, old stock, new. Hello. So you guys are just busy listening to me bitch about these Chinesium relays, right? Let me just jump in here and say, I got to thinking about it. I see that there's a problem. I recognize that I need a different part. So, needless to say, make a long story short, I got on the internet and I just spent like $1,900 on freaking brand new relays that are from Japan. And from this point going forward, they're going to be these high dollar relays. So, that's that. It's the end of the conversation. If this is better, I need to use it. So please excuse the blah, 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 blah that's going on. It's got the best part money can buy in it. End of conversation. All right, back to the main video. I just miss the transistors. I miss having good quality. Everything stays the same, high quality Toshibas. I do. I just miss them. The HG is a fine component. The 2879 is what it is. The 2879 16D08 and the C components that come from HG International, they are what they are. You have to be flexible in this day and age to be able to get through the day. You just do. I stack the best parts that money can buy around the components, and still I am held hostage at the altar of the quality of manufacture to which I can buy. It sucks. But let me reiterate, not one blue Chinesium Alibaba capacitor in this sumbitch, which in itself is a miracle, right? The fact that I'm still able to procure metal clads that are made by Simco and make it so that it's affordable for people to be able to even have these components and have them in the amp is just a miracle. I mean, the not blue Alibaba capacitors are getting very hard to find. Thank God I've spent the last decade working with a group of friends and we figured out a network to be able to buy these things, and there's still a bunch of them around. I'm telling you, when I gotta go buy capacitors off Alibaba, I'm probably gonna quit building. I can't go that substandard. I can't. I like American made components, but unfortunately, it is what it is. Gentlemen, this is Master Builder class number 34. It's a 4-pill HG with sideband. Let's go run around a gambit here. This is our 1,000 watt slug and peak, 1,000 and average 5 watt slug and reverse. We're currently on 15 volts. We're going to hit it with the Striker 955. Keep on going. Keep on going. There we go. Okay. So I don't have to pan the camera around a bunch. What we're looking at here is this is the radio with its SWR bridge power indicator, and then this is our 5-watt slug in reverse that sits between the radio and the amplifier. There's an electrical wavelength worth of coax between the meter, the radio, and the amplifier. So in theory, results may vary in length due to the type, quality of manufacture of coax, but let's run through this one time. First, I'm going to show you the ability for the RF to leave the radio and pass through the amplifier. So this is going through the relay at 1 2 1 2 1 2. So as of time of filming of this video, that relay is good to go. Let's turn the amplifier on. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2. 3/10 of 1 watt worth of reflect. But that meter right here on the radio, hello, 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 is happy. That's our input tune. It's showing us that we don't have a high input SWR going into the amplifier. Okay. So let's come over here. Turn the amplifier off. Turn the 5-watt slug that was in reverse. Make it so it's reading forward. We're putting just a hair under a watt. Let's go ahead and yank that on up to a watt. Now let's make this read in reverse. Hello. There's our full kilowatt that we've all come to know and love with our little 100 and some watts worth of drive. Hello. About 380 bird. Or average, or RMS, whatever the bird element is. That's why I literally have it printed on the meter, whatever you want to call it. You'd be amazed the debate that goes on a daily basis on the interboob tickler, what that's actually reading. Everybody says they have the answer. I go, there it is. That's your unit of measure. That's peak. So this is what it is. Let's go over here. And let's look at the volt amp gauge. Okay. Hello. 52 amps on AM. So now what we're going to do is engage the sideband function. I had one gentleman I sold one of these boxes to not here too long ago. He says to me, he goes, well, I have my 50 amp Astron, and that should be more than enough to run a 4-pill amplifier. And I said, no, no. This is an RMS reading meter, okay, or an average meter, however you want to look at it. RMS, I know the two things do not mean the same. Please don't get carried away in the comments down the doobly-doo. I know there's two different forms of measurement there. This is an average reading amp meter, okay. I had to go on to explain to the customer that his 50 amp Astron is woefully inadequate for running a 4-pill amplifier. And he goes, well, even on your own amp gauge on your workbench BBI, it only showed 50 to 60 amps. And I said, yeah, in AM, hello. Oh yeah, gotta turn the power up. I'm on sideband. Hello, audio. On AM, we're seeing our 50 or 60 amps. On sideband, hello, we are pulling the same amount of current on AM as we are on sideband. Hello. To make this needle move all the way to the corner requires about 100 amps worth of power supply. So he thought I was pulling shenanigans on him, some tomfuckery or something. I said, here, let's do this. If you go out and buy yourself a 100 amp power supply and you hook it up to your amplifier and you claim and can prove to me on video or something that the amplifier doesn't put out the power at that point, I'll buy the amplifier back from you. He went out and bought himself the 100 amp power supply, calls me up and goes, man, this thing runs like an animal. I said, well, because you're not starving it for jizz. sometimes it's like you feel like you can take the horse to water, but you can't make him drink, you know? This has got every upgraded bell and whistle that money can buy. It's got every high dollar component in it that money can buy. The case has got the best fan that money can buy. Guys are like, but they're kind of loud. The fans are a little bit loud. Guess what? That's what you got to have on there to keep it cool. It's got to move X amount of air across the heatsink to dissipate the number of watts worth of heat that we're putting into the heatsink to transfer it into the atmosphere at 120 degree airflow. Everybody thinks that they live in 100 or 75 degree or 70 degree atmosphere because that's what we like to create for ourselves as far as humans liking to occupy the space. I have to build to the space that the amplifier could possibly occupy, meaning the 120, 130 degree trunk or the 120, 130 degree cab of a truck. I've got to move in a volume of air through this box that I can dissipate, let's see, 300 to 400 watts per second into the heatsink. I have to be able to dissipate that amount of heat transferred with enough circular airflow through the cabinet, be able to keep the thing from melting itself to refried dog shit. So I use a little bit of high flow fan. No big deal. Still a high dollar Sun-On. It's the best of what we can do. Gentlemen, I'm asking $850 for this thing. The first one to call me, first one to text, you guys all know the rules, ends up getting it. I'm going to put the tins on this. And I'm going to get ready for it to go to a new home. There is somebody out there right now that's asking themselves this question. Why does he build so many 4-pills? It is the hottest amplifier on the market right now, period. I could build Masterclass 8 pills, Masterclass 6 pills, Masterclass 12, whatever. I could put the Masterclass on it and build up to that standard. But there is not a call for those style of amplifiers like there is for the 4-pill. The logic for that is every single radio on the market today is a 100-watt radio for the most part. All of your Stryker series radios are 100 watt. All of your ICOMs, that kind of stuff's 100 watt. Even this radio, the 2950, this is a dual MOSFET finaled radio. I have it internally turned down to do the 30 watts that you guys have all known to know and love. The average human being, when they get this radio and they get it through their little shop, it's going to come out, it's going to do about 90 watts peak. That power parameter of 100 watts works out to be the perfect amplifier for the radio. Happens to be a 4-pill or an 8-pill like 454 box. Be perfect. The other way to do it to get a couple hundred more watts is to use like an 8-pill and just loaf it. But for the bang for the buck, the real estate size, and the power produced by the radio, the 4-pill is king. It's king. It is king. And that's the reason I build these, is because I want to make everybody have the opportunity to be able to purchase an amplifier from me. But I want to sell it to the market that it's going to be the most accepted to. I mean, I could build a bunch of 2-pills and sell them all damn day. I could build a bunch of 8-pills and probably not sell as very many of those. Build a 16-pill and sell one of those a month. Or I can build a 4-pill. The guy's happy because he's got himself a BBI amp. And then on top of that, he can hook it up to his new $1,200, $1,300, $500, $800 radio that does 120, 130 watts. That makes sense? Okay. Now what I've been having fun with here lately is I've been burying the sales price in the videos. And I'm doing this intentionally. As in, like you guys noticed, I told what the price was a few minutes ago. Because on the analytics on YouTube, what I've noticed is people will watch the beginning of it and then they'll skip all the way to the end to find out how much the price is, and they won't watch any of the content in between. So as a fun game, I'll just randomly say in the middle of the video, hey, this is what I'm asking for it. And it's hilarious to me because these guys will call me up, hey, so how much did you want for that one amplifier? Well, I said in the video, no, I watched the whole thing. No, you didn't. And I'm like, yeah, I did. Because I know in the back of my head. Okay, so then what I'll do is with them on the phone, I'll go pull the video up. And then I already know where in the video I said it. I'll go back and I'll play it for them over the, yeah, see, it was right there in the video. I know, I'm an asshole. Okay, let's turn this off. Let's have a little bit more fun. We're going to increase our drive into this thing, and I'm going to see if we can get it to go over 1,000 watts. Hello, 1, 2. So we're going to go from 125 watt radio to a 200 watt SR490. Ready, set, hello, on the stop peg. So we'll go up to 2x. So now, as you guys know, let me get my laser pointer so you're not looking at my hairy arm and my hairy knuckles. When the needle goes all the way over here to the right, that's 2,000 watts. This little mark right here, that's 1,000. The next major mark, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 2,000. Okay. So now that we all know how to read the meter, hello, there's our 1250 we've all come to know and love. Well, sometimes it's a little bit of a trick getting there. It really is. I usually buy transistors in a lot of 100 or 200 at a time. And I do that so that I don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel every single time. I've got a 16 pill that I built with the same lot, and I had a lot of problems with that 16 pill, and it didn't want to run right. That's what I spent the first 4 days of this week on. Just trying to figure out that 16 pill. I said, man, I'm going to go back to what I know and go find out what my new input tune and output tune needs to be for a 4-pill section, because obviously we've changed lots of transistors. I want you to think about all the information I just dumped on you in this cute little video. If you're a tech or a builder, you'll understand what I'm saying. And usually people, what did he say? What did he say? There's a reason why. Gentlemen, thank you for putting up with my shenanigans. I appreciate every single one of you guys that tune in. I cannot give enough credit and thanks and love back to my guys on Patreon. Look, you guys, I know Patreon app is a pain in the ass. About once a month, I have about 5 of you guys reach out and they say, hey man, I'm having a problem with the Patreon account. I apologize, there's just not a better program out there for me to use. I thank you for all the support that you guys on Patreon give me. It really helps grease the wheels around here and make things go. Got 4 huge projects going on right now that are all direct results of the Patreon supporters. The guys that are on Patreon, you all know what I'm talking about. I've shown lots of pictures and started talking. I've got another big one that I'm getting ready to drop. The Patreon guys, I'm going to drop that this weekend. And then eventually you guys here on YouTube, you'll get to see it. But, I mean, the reason these guys' stickers are out here is because they love on me, I love on them back, right? Siglent, that's most of my measuring equipment over here. XS, let's face it, they're the ones that have changed the game for all of us with the LTO technology. MechMan, hey, if you combine this company here and this company here underneath the hood of your vehicle, I'm here to tell you, I can give you a battery the size of a shoebox that run 48 pill. We know, we've all seen it on camera. They're here because we love on them and they love on us back. So big shout out to XS, Siglent, MechMan, Bird, of course, Coaxial Dynamics for modern meter movements. Big thanks to my Patreon supporters, and a giant shout out to all of you guys. I say humbly, and I say thank you, and I say appreciate you guys, and I can't say thanks enough for all the support. Gentlemen, I'm off to go work on yet another project. Oh, by the way, I've got two 3-tube 3500Z boxes coming up next month. No joke. I'll see you guys. I appreciate every single one of you. Click, click, click.